Welcome to Onshape. I assume you've already signed up for Onshape for Education, so we're going to open a sample document and look through all of its features. So before we do so, I wanted to show you, this is the Onshape window. This right here is the Create button where you create new files and new documents. A document can contain not only canned files but also drawings and PDFs and parts that are related to what you're trying to create. Over here along the side, these are how you access things that have been recently opened, created by you, shared by you, and then you can actually work with teams to jointly share and edit CAD documents. Let's get started with this sample file. Once you open the sample file, you're going to have to click Make a Copy and then give it a name. I'm going to call mine Lesson 1. When you do so, you'll notice that it's opening up just a small part of that larger piece that we just saw. As we start manipulating this object, I wanted to show you some of the features of your mouse. The center mouse wheel right here is super useful in navigating Onshape. If you were to roll the center mouse wheel, you can see that the drawing is going to zoom in and out. If you double click the center mouse wheel, it'll recenter the drawing and maximize its size. And if you want to pan the drawing, moving it back and forth, you need to press and hold the center mouse wheel while moving it back and forth. If you right click, you can select things, and if you left click, it'll open up a window. In the Onshape window, you can see over here along the left that these are all of our features. This is kind of like a timeline in order of all the things that were done to create what you see in front of you. Up here at the top, this button is called your document menu. It's where you can rename your document, change your units, etc. This is the version history, so it's kind of like a tracker as you go through and make changes. It'll allow you to save things as different versions with this button right here, and then split it so that you can have multiple iterations of the same part so that you can test and compare and see which one is better before you commit. Over here, these are all the parts of your CAD model. Each of these are a separate piece. So if, like for example, you were to assemble this, each of these would be a separate piece that you were holding in your hand. Let's talk about how to manipulate this object. If you want to rotate it, you're going to use this cube right here. By clicking the corner, you'll view it at an angle, and by clicking a surface, you'll view it straight on. If you use these arrows, you'll tilt it or turn it slightly. These larger arrows here will rotate it back and forth. If you want to view it straight back on again, you can click that surface. If there's a particular part that you want to view straight on, you can select that particular part, right-click, and then say View Normal To, and it'll tilt it so that you can specifically see that one part. I'm going to click this top corner so I can go back to like what I expect to be my normal view here. If I want to select things, there's two ways to select things. I can either draw a box or I can click on them individually. So by clicking on parts individually, you'll see that it highlights over here which part you have clicked. So this is part 8, this is part 1, for example. If you click on it again, you can deselect it. You can do the same over here, select and deselect. Another way of deselecting is to click and clear your selection, like this. If you want to select multiple things, you can click multiple things, but sometimes that's a pain. So if you click and drag your mouse, you'll notice that if you click and drag to the right, it creates a blue box, and if you click and drag to the left, it creates a yellow box with a dotted line, and they do different things. I'm going to show you the difference by selecting just the top of this drawing. You'll notice that when I click and drag to the right with the blue box, that it only selects things that were inside of that box. That means that you have to completely contain what you want to select by that blue box. To clear the selection, I'm going to click Clear Selection. Oops, Clear Selection. Alright, what happens if I click and drag to the left, creating a yellow box over the same area? You'll notice that the whole part gets selected. That's because by clicking and dragging to the left, you're selecting anything that even brushes against that selection box, and that's why you're going to have multiple things. If you want to measure a part, just selecting the measurement will create it down here in the corner. It will tell you, for example, the length of this. It'll show you, for example, if you click a face, it'll show you the area of that face, for example. If you have to have only one thing selected in order to see the area. There you go. If you click a circle, it should show you the diameter or radius. If you want to change units, you can go over here and say workplace units, and you can change it to any other unit you are looking for. If you want to modify your part, you can edit the features or create a new feature. So like for example, if I go over here to sketch 1, I can click and edit. You can see that this is the cube right here that defined like the top gray part. And it has some measurements. You can click and change the measurements. For example, I'm going to make this hole smaller, and in doing so you can see that it updates the part to have a smaller hole. I can click undo and then redo to compare that change. We're going to be exploring all of these things in class more in depth, but today's purpose was to give you just a brief overview of all of the parts of Onshape. I look forward to seeing you next time.